Good afternoon once again. My name is Adetola Jesutofunmi. I'm the current GDG OAU Game Dev lead. So it's so great to have you guys here. So yeah, um, I was hoping we could wait like till we have like over 15 more participants or over 20, but it seems so as not to waste everyone's else time and to like get on with things fast. We can just begin. So first things first. Yeah, the theme of today's webinar session, the harsh reality and future of gaming. We all know how the game development space has been and how everything has been moving. So with the help of our very honorable OG community member, Mr. Chisom Ogbonna, I didn't get that. I'm not sure if I got that pronunciation well, but still, he has volunteered to come here and speak with us about how the whole game industry has been going, about how he's going to be looking for him. He's going to be looking in the next like 2 to 3 years how everything is going to go ahead with and GDC gaming on how to leverage GDC gaming. So yeah, so let's clap our hands for Mr. Chisom as he comes up and proceed with his presentation. Mr. Chisom, you have the floor.
Righty. Thank you very much, Stephanie. So, it's nice to meet everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join. I think this is mostly filled up with like, should I say, game dev, members, which is fine, really. And just as Stephanie has said, it's really a known, should I say, it's not an issue, but it's like a known thing happening in the games industry in today's time that there's just a lot of happenings really, and one who is just getting in or one who has been in for a while can just simply get overwhelmed by what all of the state of the industry and whatnot. But yeah, don't worry, I'm here to just give you a guide through. I'll also share a bit of my experience too. I've chopped multiple layers too. So yeah, it has been a rough and bumpy ride being in the industry for the past 5 to 6 years. But at the end of the day, I'm still here. I'm still, pushing for a lot of things. And yeah, there are just certain things I was able to do and I'm still doing that just keeps on opening doors of opportunities to me. And I've also been exposed to a bunch more pertaining to how the industry will move in the years to come. And yeah, that is what I would love to share with you guys. So, just a little, what?
Sorry to cut you. We all, some of us have met Mr. Chisom and some of us might not have met Mr. Chisom. So I don't think I would do full justice like introduce him himself. So please, Mr. Chisom, can you tell us a brief background of what you have done, what you do, and everything else about you before you move on? Thank you.
Yeah, I was getting there. But anyways, yes. My name is Chisom Ogbonna. I've been in the game dev industry since 2019, September 2019. That was when I actually started to learn, my first programming language. Not my first, but actually my second. It was OU that put me on programming. I thought I couldn't even, program at the time. I thought it was for smart people, and I didn't deem myself smart until I picked up Python with the CSE course. Maybe most of you are familiar or not, if you're in tech. But anyways, my first programming language pertaining to game dev was like C++, and that was because I wanted to pick up Unreal Engine. Okay, so I've been there, from Unreal Engine, being in the market, I got to see that, the market has its own specifications. I also picked up Unity and C#. I've worked as a Unity developer, I've worked as an Unreal Engine developer. Then over time, I got exposed to UGC gaming, that's user-generated content gaming. So whereby existing platforms give us some sort of framework or software to build on their own games or their own platforms, right? So that's the likes of like UEFN, Roblox. I've been opportunity to also work, with those technologies with, big names, awesome studios around the globe. So and prior to all of this, even before becoming a gameplay programmer, I used to draw comics. So I worked on a bunch of like local comics and, foreign comics too. I don't know if any of you are aware of like Unique Studios. I used to work with them back in the day, like 2018, 2017, around those time periods. So it was really fun while it lasted. Then yeah, I eventually pivoted to game dev. But anyways, I really don't want to spend so much time on me, and I really just want to get into it. Yeah, just a bit of fact about the game industry. Yeah, we all know that the gaming industry is bigger than. Sorry, who is raising his hands? Yeah.
Sorry, that was a mistake.
Oh, okay. So, a bit of fact about the gaming industry. We all know, or maybe some of us know, that the gaming industry is actually bigger than Hollywood and the music industry combined, right? In 2025, yeah, the gaming industry already generated about 190 to 197 billion dollars in revenue, with about 3.6 billion players worldwide, right? And a big chunk of that money actually came from mobile gaming, okay? And that's already one of the hints as to where I'm going to be taking you guys to later down this presentation. And then, mobile gaming actually accumulated about $100 billion as at last year, right? And on the surface, it all looks like the golden age because, I mean, when you hear statistics like, oh, gaming industry is bigger than, the Hollywood and music industry combined, you think that, oh, this is actually a prosperous field and whatnot. And, you look forward to actually like getting in there, trying to make your own games. And to be frank, right, it's not even about the statistics. We all grew up playing games, right? We all grew up loving games. So to find out that, oh, we need this and this to be able to build our own games is an exciting idea, right? So, but the thing is that with every industry, it's really not just with gaming. If you look all around, there has been like an economic downturn and also changes in a lot of industries, since the inclusion of AI. A lot of people have lost their jobs. AI is taking over a lot of things. So, I mean, a lot of ecosystems are already changing, right? A lot of writers that used to have the job as at 2024, 2023, they don't have it now. AI has taken over them. And the chunk of the people now that are taking most of these opportunities are people who know how to leverage, artificial intelligence and all of the tool sets that it provides, right? So I'm just going to move on to the current uncomfortable truths in the gaming industry, right? I'm going to start with one, monetization and exploitation, right? So when we play games like COD, actually, let's leave narrative-driven games now. The games that we mostly have access to are mobile games, yeah. And most of these normal games are always plagued with like microtransactions and loot boxes and pay to win mechanics, right? So you have to like pay for battle pass, you have to buy this to get an awesome weapon to have leverage in the game. Mostly like COD. I use COD because everybody actually plays COD, right? Which is not a bad thing, okay? And I think COD actually found a way to strike a balance, to be fair. But there are some companies that are just heavily greedy and they heavily run on that and they really just want to pull all the money out of players' pockets. And players obviously see this, right? And it has corroded the trust between players and actually publishers, or should I say game studios, okay? And there's also, toxicity and inclusivity, online harassment, it's really, really rampant. And also accessibility gaps too. There's some games that are available in certain regions that are not available in certain regions and all of that kind of stuff, really. And then there's the burnout and crunch culture. See, let me not lie to you. I don't think you can escape this being in the game dev industry because working on games, yeah, there's along the development process, there is always a lot of change in, should I say, scope, a lot of change in like design, and you need to make changes to fit those specifications, right? So burnout and crunch culture is not exactly something that you should not be on. I mean, it's not even in the gaming industry. It's not only in the gaming industry. Like every other industry have that too. Maybe you're trying to meet a set of orders. You run a restaurant, so you have to like spend some overtime to get those orders going and deliver it the next day or whenever you have to deliver it. Right. So the burnout and crunch culture is there, but there are some companies who just do it in a very unhealthy manner. Right. It's like they force it down your throat. You have to do it. You have to like slave away. The standard working hours is actually 7 hours. 1 hour for break, the other 7, like, they say 9 to 5, but it's actually like maybe 9 to 12, then 1 to 5 or whatever the case might be. You usually have like a 1 hour break in between to go have some food or something like that. So for most companies where I've worked at, they usually have like a 7-hour work time, the 1 hour break, and all of that stuff. But some companies actually push it to the extreme. You're working 10 hours, you're working 12 hours, which is really not healthy. And this is like on a steady every day, of the week, of the work week and work days anyways. And then there's obviously layoffs and mismanagement, which is really just the highlight of one of the harsh realities here. Um, Looking at the likes of, like, let's say Ubisoft, even Epic Games recently. I mean, I was, as of last week, I was working with some people in Epic Games, and this week I'm no longer working with them. Like, they are not, they're no longer in the pool, and which is very, very sad to see, because like Epic Games laid off like over 1,000 employees last week, or sorry, beginning of this week, and it's really just sent the whole internet spiraling. The gaming community was furious, and they usually point this whole attribute like mismanagement. In every company, there's some managers who actually oversee the production and different levels of the game, really, be it the production, be it the technical review, be it media, be it like the in-game economy, right? You purchasing like loot boxes, game passes, and all of that kind of stuff, right? And sometimes they also misappropriate funds to other things, like things that are not even relevant to the game. Okay. And I mean, take for instance, I saw a note online. I think I should be a bit careful because this will go on YouTube. But anyways, let me just leave that. Let me just leave that one aside. I wanted to give an illustration, but I think I'll just take that back. But anyways, all of this is really just pointed towards mismanagement, because most managers in game companies don't exactly care about the game. They care about the returns and revenue that they make off it, and obviously to make investors happy. Do you understand? To make the board happy. So they're always looking for ways to, like, push things crazy. And some of them, just like I said, they mismanage the funds, right? They throw money into things that are not necessary and whatnot. Like, for instance, Fortnite does a lot of collabs, right? And with these collabs, they might involve celebrities, and those celebrities, for them to actually collaborate with them, they need a fee, right? And I mean, one of the latest collabs was with The Rock, and obviously he gets a lot of money off this kind of collabs. I don't think they paid him anything less than maybe $10 million or 20, right? It's a big collab. And I mean, Epic also has been in that cycle of like fighting to get on the App Store, on the Play Store, and all of that kind of stuff. I think they've always been on Play Store, but trying to get on the App Store, and all of that stuff, really. So when you're trying to get into a studio, or when you're trying to get into a company, right, especially in this day and age, you can't exactly run away from mismanagement. Okay, it's just one of those things, and it has gotten to a point that even when you join a studio that looks promising, even when you join a company that actually has things right, okay, anything can go wrong. Anything can go wrong. I mean, it might just be that, oh, they made poor decisions in the project, in the game project, right? They release it, players don't like it, or players are not even engaged in their content, and they have to shut it down. And we shutting down eventually leads to laying off the team, and all of that kind of stuff, which is just very sad to see. Very, very annoying. I have experienced a bunch of layoffs already, and it's very, very infuriating. But it is what it is. We get to move on, right? And yes, I mean, fragmentation. I've touched a bit of this, but it's also about like subscriptions and subscription fatigue and exclusivity war. Exactly what I talked about in, like, having to pay for like the best weapons to have an edge in game and all of that kind of stuff, right? But anyways, these are just a few of the things that one gets to actually experience in the gaming industry, right? And someone as maybe I don't know the state of everyone on the call right now. Maybe you're trying to aspire to join the community, or maybe you're trying to aspire to become a game developer. It's going to be really, really hard for you to navigate with all of the noises that is happening all worldwide, because a lot of studios are shut down. Job opportunities are coming short. Okay. So, and every day, universities, schools are churning out a lot of, trained talents or trained personnel for the industry, and there is no job for them to jump on. Okay, so it's a very, very sad reality that we live in, and it's, like I said, it's really not just only game dev; it's all over the place. Okay, all right, it's a sad reality we live in. The economy is a bit unstable, which is, that happens all the time. You have like an economy spike, you have an economy downturn, and all of that kind of stuff, right? But the thing is, what I really wanted to just bring to you guys, plate, is, amidst all of this that is happening here, how can you now have an edge in the market, really? How can you really have an edge amidst all of the things that are happening, amidst all of the negative news that we've been hearing? How can you actually leverage, the industry, get into the industry and actually work towards something that is possible, Okay. So yeah, I'm going to actually start off with like normal native game development. Okay. And I think I'll slow down a bit here to process my thoughts too. Okay. So, if any of you have been updated with like the state of the AAA industry, especially the AAA industry, most of them have been releasing, you know, back to back, like bomb projects. When I say bomb projects, like it doesn't sell or it's not properly received by the audience in a sense. And this is because of they are trying to push a narrative, or they're trying to, or sometimes they don't even put in efforts to, design a proper game, and they just, throw a bunch of hyper realistic assets and cool characters and expect that all players will jump on it and stuff like that. And the thing is that most of the time during the development process of these things, players and communities actually voice out their opinions about these games. And one thing I noticed about AAA studios, or just studios in general, most of the time, they don't exactly try to listen to the community, and they keep on pushing with what they want to do. Okay, so this now really brings back to this now brings me to a point here of actually listening to the community. To be fair, a lot of the companies I've worked at, most of the time they are also always in close proximity to their community. If they're trying to implement like a new feature or trying to get something going in their game, they usually actually reach out to their community members to see, okay, is this a possible idea? Do you think this would be, nice, and all of that stuff? And community members will actually give their feedback, like, oh, this would be cool, we'd love to see it in the game, and all of that kind of stuff, right? And then we go ahead and we implement it, and boom, it raises a spike in our player count, essentially. So community is really, really important, and you should never look down on them, okay? Especially when you're trying to build something for the masses. Now, that passion projects are a different thing, okay? And you can actually go all the way you want with it. But, when a AAA studio, you're trying to build something, to make money and all that kind of stuff, your community is where your air should be. Now, another thing, that's just for normal native game development, right? That's something I just wanted to pitch to you guys. But I think my main topic of discussion here, amidst all of the harsh realities that we've heard and all of that kind of stuff here, is really centered around UGC platforms. Okay, and I mentioned it early on, UEFN and Roblox, right? As at 2023, Epic Games released their UEFN software, that's the Unreal Editor for Fortnite, right? And it also came with its own additional programming language called Verse. Years before that, Roblox actually released their own platform and made support for programmers to jump in, make their own native experiences and publish it on the platform. So Roblox actually uses Lua, right? So here's the thing. These companies already have spent the bulk of their time, and should I say the bulk of their existence or operations, actually trying to filter users, or filter players into their game. Let me just put it like that, their game or their platform, right? So they've done a ton of the work for us. They already have the audience that is constantly coming to their platform on a daily rate, right? So that gives us an edge to actually jump into this type of opportunities here. Let's be frank. I know that all of us here jumped into game development because we wanted to build a certain type of project, right? But when you look at the reality of this, if you truly want this as a career, right, you're also trying to make money off it, right? And these platforms already present us with that opportunity to make money off this, of what they have to offer. Okay, so you jump on Roblox Studio, you jump on Lua, you learn, the basics, fundamentals, get used to, using the Roblox Studio, and then you can actually publish your games on these platforms, get some player counts, and in turn you get paid. You get paid of the engagement and some other in-game transactions and all of that stuff, really. So that's what all of these platforms provide for us. And Unreal Editor for Fortnite is more or less the same thing, right? Epic usually commit about 40, like they have their metrics at which they measure at, right? That's your player count, how much your players spent in your game, right? They have support for all of that, and just so many other metrics, really. And in turn, right, it's really, there has been a ton of there's been a ton of payouts from all of these platforms to, creators. Okay, so someone who wants to like just get a game idea out there, you can quickly jump on these platforms and just quickly iterate and release. Like, you don't need to be wasting so much time having to gain assets, or having to do this, having to do that. A lot of these things are already provided in these softwares, and you can just jump in and go crazy with it. And I mean, for Roblox paid about $1 billion to creators last year. Then UEFM paid about $720 million to creators last year, right? And these are the possibilities. These numbers are even way more higher than what, shall I say, creators or developers on the likes of that release their game on Steam or Epic Store, or whichever the case might be, actually generated for last year. Okay, so yeah, I also want to bring up the discussion of community mods. It's actually possible, sorry, I want to engage you guys a bit. How many of you guys have heard about like game modding? You can just like raise up your hand or give thumbs up or something like that. Sorry, just give a thumbs up. All right, so that's good to know. Thank you very much. So there's also a possibility in community modding. Okay, so where you hear about, most of the terms I'll use here are things that most people aren't exactly aware of. Even with myself, I mean, I just started doing research on it like late last year, and towards the course of this year. Community mods in the sense of 5M and GTA roleplay. Okay, so it's very much similar to what UGC actually offers. Do you get? It's very much, in fact, it's literally the same thing. Okay, even using 5M and GTA on GTA to create like role play actions and all of that stuff, you're still using Lua U, right? Which is the same. So you're using Lua, not Lua U. Lua U is a different. It's like upgraded for Roblox. But anyways, I will not get into that technical detail. But you're using Lua to create like your own custom experiences in GTA also. That in itself is another form of UGC. Like we are still generating content on an existing platform. Okay. And funny enough, this is like a hidden market because not a lot of people talk about it, but you have no idea how much people generate from these things. And it's crazy, to be fair. I mean, these people, this particular section of modding actually generates millions and millions of dollars every year, right? Because, like I said, it's very much similar to Roblox and UEFN. GTA has a very huge fan base, okay? And obviously, the normal GTA, you can roam around, you can do crazy things, you can go on missions if you want, follow the storyline and whatnot. Now, imagine if you can now create your own custom experience in GTA. Okay, you can literally recreate the whole of Lagos and create like some sort of custom story, right? You can release that into the community. People jump on it. People actually pay to access your server. You can even decide to do like a subscription model. They pay like $10 every month. Right, to get your money up in Game Dev. And yes, now to another thing that can really help us in this day and age. And to be fair, it's actually redefining all of the industries, like I mentioned early on. It's like AI tools and workflows. Okay, so it's no brainer that AI today can actually do a bunch of programming, right? You give it a prompt like, oh, I need a function that does this, or I need a class that does this. Okay, and I need a library that does, or go through this particular code base, identify this bug, right? These are simple things or simple prompts that you can, prompt AI and it will go in there. It does its best to, should I say, interpret those problems or solve those problems that you present to it. But that's like just a plain, or how should I put it? Like a base use of it, in a sense. Like it's a base use of AI. All right. AI can do a lot more, right? It's crazy how much AI can actually do. But I'm going to relate it to game dev specifically. Okay. In order to actually increase your output, right, and be more efficient, and don't be surprised when in the industry now, when you start to see a job posting, you start to see, oh, efficient in using Cursor, efficient in using GitHub Copilot. Do you understand? These are things that are eventually going to come up in, like, I mean, it's already coming up anyways. I see some job descriptions now, they're saying, oh, we need someone that is fervent in using Cursor, for someone that is fervent in using, GitHub Copilot that can set up workflows and all of that stuff. Right. So this is something that you should not ignore. If you've been hearing about it and you feel threatened, do not, right? AI is here to help us. I mean, that's something I told myself right from the beginning. It's here to help us. And I write code faster. I spend less time at my desk, working, because I've been able to like learn how to use I mostly use Cursor anyways. It's really, really good. Okay. I've been able to use Cursor. I've been able to like just it knows the way I work, it knows the way I write my code. So most of the time, if I give it a prompt like, oh, I need a function that does this, or implement this particular functionality into the system I have, it knows what to do. Obviously, it needs some fine touches from me. So I have to look at what it has done, make corrections and all of that stuff. But for the most part, it really increases like my effectiveness overall, okay, when working on projects. And like I said, please do not isolate it. Try to utilize it as much as possible. Just a hint, right? For the best the best free AI tool that I would suggest to you guys is actually Microsoft Bing, right? It uses one of the most updated, should I say, model for GPT. So, I mean, what you will get in like a paid version of ChatGPT, you would just get it for free on Microsoft Bing. So it's really, really good. Yeah, so, I mean, I've spoken a lot. I've said a ton of things. It's crazy. My mouth is spinning me. I don't think I've spoken this much in months. But anyways, yes, native development, UGC, mods like FireM, and AI workflows together points to a world where gaming is longer, a product delivered from studios to players. Okay, it is participatory. It's like a participatory ecosystem. Players can become creators. Creators can become entrepreneurs. AI becomes the invisible collaborator that makes it all possible. All right. Imagine gaming not just for entertainment, but as a cultural force, shaping empathy, education, connections. Imagine games that can teach, inspire, and unite. The choice before us is really, really stark: exploitation or evolution, really. So if we confront the harsh realities head on, gaming can evolve into one of the most powerful storytelling medium of our time, in a sense. Now, this is actually a prompt like one in my write-up that I was able to come up with. But this I'm saying, or like all of the things I'm saying, I just said right now, really just points to one thing. All right. All of us, when we played games or when we play games, right, aside from the fun loop, right, we were introduced to games on a narrative level. So there's a story, there's a character, you're playing at this character, you feel yourself in the shoes of this character, you are engaging with the world around you, the virtual world around you, right? Be it with a gun, be it with trinkets, be it with healables. You pick up something, you're able to heal yourself if you have damage to your health, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Games are awesome. Games are cool. They really put us in another world, and that's one thing that really attracted me to it. I mean, right from the get-go, and I believe that that's something that attracted all of us to it right from the get-go. Okay, so you now get to decide eventually at the end of the day, like, okay, if I'm working as a gameplay programmer, how do I want my experiences to be? How do I want my experiences on players to be? And I mean, there's so much to really uncover and discover, right? And I think I'm even talking and miss a bit here, so sorry about that. But the main point I'm trying to pass across really is, as a gameplay programmer or as someone who's trying to get into the game dev industry, right? Please do not be afraid of the negative news that you're hearing around you. Just keep on doing your own thing, right? And expose yourself to all of these possible things that I've narrated to you, right? Expose yourself to native game development. That's what most of you guys will start off with, right? Expose yourself to UGC platforms. See the possibilities there, right? Expose yourself to community mods, making mods on GTA. And it's not just on GTA, by the way. A lot of games do mods where you swap out like the main character for another thing, and they use it to make a lot of comedic scenarios in game. But that's an aside. And try to utilize AI tools and workflows in your development process. These are the new set of requirements for anyone that is trying to get into the gaming industry. You need to be fast. You need to be able to activate. Who is CJ? Someone just dropped a message. But anyways, yeah. Anyways, sorry, I've lost my train of thought. Yeah. So please, the gaming in. Okay, I meant character. Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I understand now. That's fine. Yeah. So what I'm just trying to say, I've said that like multiple times now, is yes, the minimum requirements to get into the gaming industry is starting to grow, and it's starting to be overwhelming too. All right. I wanted to cut this out at first, but I think I'm just going to share it with you guys instead. I want to share the beginning parts of my gaming, when I got into the gaming industry proper, started working as a gameplay programmer. Like I mentioned earlier on, I said that I learned Unreal Engine and C++. Okay, and that was what I was trying to get into the market with. I tried applying for roles. Obviously, most roles were pointing outside, like foreign roles. They were pointing outside Nigeria. They're pointing outside the globes of Africa, really, outside the borders of Africa. And most of them obviously had their requirements. You know, at the time, you must learn C++, you must know C++. You must have like 2 years of experience, 3 years of it, depending on whatever the role might, need. But seeing that I was not able to close any opportunity outside the country, yeah, I decided to take a step back and see if I could get any local experience. Right, local experiences are not bad. Okay, I know most of us, once we jump, we want to get into Ubisoft, want to get into, Bandai Namco, or whatever the case might be, right? But when you're starting out your game dev journey, yeah, try to go local first. Try to build something in your immediate space, and if you're lucky enough to learn something outside, that's fine too. Okay, but as a gameplay programmer, you are not restricted to using just one tool. You have a vast majority of tools that you can use. Like when I say tools, like engines, programming language, that kind of thing. Like I was saying, I learned Unreal Engine and C++. But once I was able to scale back a bit, and I saw that, I wanted to get into the market, regardless of whether it was local or international. When I did my research, I saw that most of West African studios were looking for Unity and C# developers. So I decided to pick up Unity and C#. Not long after that, I was able to land my first role. And at that time, I made my first $1,000. Okay, so $1,000 back then was like 400K. Okay, and then I knew right from that point that I wanted to like move forward with this thing. That's when I even decided, okay, I was not going to become I was going to stop, drawing comics and just push full time with this thing. Right. The second opportunity that I got actually put me on Construct 3 and JavaScript. This was for web games. Okay. So I started making web games using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? But obviously, Construct 3, for those of you that don't know, Construct 3 is actually a web game engine. Okay, so you develop games for web on it. All right. So I was put on Construct 3 and JavaScript. So I had to pick up JavaScript, learn JavaScript, come back to Construct 3, understand what it has to offer, and start to make web games of it. And I did that for like 2 years. Then another opportunity opened up to me in the UK, where a company was actually looking for someone with also Construct 3 and JavaScript experience. I worked with those guys. It was a short-term contract. I worked with them for a while, Construct 3, JavaScript, and I was able to make more connections, add some more, to my resume and all of that kind of stuff, right? Then as time went on, I was not able to get an opportunity as an Unreal Engine and C++ developer. So imagine I spent about 2 years working with like Unity, Construct 3 and C# before I was able, Construct 3 and JavaScript, before I was able to now get a role as an Unreal Engine and C++ developer. I mean, I didn't stay at that role for too long because I also was now sidetracked by UGC Gaming. At the time where I joined that company, I spent about a year with them working as an Unreal Engine C++ developer. And I got exposed to UGC Gaming. And I said, oh, this is interesting. Let me try it out. There was a lot of hype around it. And I felt like, oh, if I was able to get into this early enough, it would be to my own profit. Okay. Imagine you're trying to get into an ecosystem that just freshly started, and you know the possibilities of what is going to come off it. I mean, why not? So you take some time, you pick it up, you learn it, and you move on. So that was how I was able to pick up UEFN and Verse. Like I said, Verse is the programming language for UEFN, and it's more like a server-side kind of language, right? And I picked that up, I learned it, I got my first opportunity with a company in Brazil. I worked with them as a freelancer for a bit, like a month, got a decent amount of cash of that. Then I started to look for more roles in that line, right? Prominent roles. And then, I got to, let me see. Another thing I would like to really highlight is please work on your connections, you guys. Do not isolate yourself. LinkedIn is there to help you. Connect with people, interact with people. Okay, interact with people. Do not isolate yourself when you're in this industry, because it's the people that that will be able to save your, pardon my French, your okay, let me not use that at all. But yes, they're going to be able to save you in your time of need. Okay. So at the time when I was looking for other UEFN Verse roles, I came across a recruiter online, right? And I was just really friendly with him. I greeted him in a very nice manner and all of that stuff. And he just told me that, oh, he likes the way I approached him. And before the year ran out, this was in 2023, that he was going to land me a role with, one of the companies he come across, right? And this man put me on multiple interviews with different studios and different companies. All right. I had about 3 interviews before I was able to now get the last one that eventually brought me on board. And that was it. Like, that was my first major international role with the possibilities of relocation and all of that stuff, right? These people even sent me, like, gears, like a new Razer laptop, the highest end possible at that time, a monitor, and just, like the whole package that every game developer would want, especially from this part of the world. You're able to work from home. They provide you internet. They provide you all of the gears that you need. I mean, awesome stuff, right? I mean, it didn't even take up to 3 months. After 3 months, they laid me off. They laid me off because, that was the time where a lot of companies were now starting to close down departments, lay off departments. So, and these people, with the way they work with different companies and different brands. They're able to, like, reach out to Amazon, reach out to Coachella, reach out to all of these, awesome brands there, and actually create a game for them on Fortnite. Okay, so that's how they work. So most of the departments that they were supposed to work with got laid off, hence the contracts with them got cancelled, and they hired me and a ton of other awesome developers and animators and 3D artists and curators. So they had to let all of us go. So I had to send all of those gears back to Ireland, because that's where they're based. I had to send all of those girls back and they told me to keep some of it. They told me to send the laptop and some other things. So I mean, that was my first heartbreak in the game dev industry. I was devastated for, like, I could not even get myself. But the funny thing is, prior to all of that, I already started to make the proper connections with people. I already started to reach out to, I mean, I could walk up to someone on LinkedIn who could even be like the vice president, has like a V, should I say V? A C position in a company. Yes, a C position in a company. CEO, COO, CC, whatever C, whatever that is. Yeah, I could approach them and I could tell them that, oh, I'm so and so person. I'm from Nigeria. I'm a budding gameplay programmer. I would love to talk to you about this. What do you think I need, or what do you think? Sorry, what are the qualifications you think I need to come on board in your own company? Do you understand? Or I could present them another case study. I could tell them that, oh, please, I need advice on so and so thing. I see that your company is doing this, right? Or I can see that you're doing this. I would love more insight on it. I mean, I used to approach a bunch of people through LinkedIn. I mean, I approached one of the well-known, well, not well-known. I don't think everybody knows him like that. But I approached someone from Ubisoft who was really the head of, like, AI programming for Assassin's Creed and so many of the other games that they worked on. I constantly pinged this man over the months until he agreed to get on a call with me. And once he got on a call with me, is what he told me and a lot of the things that he exposed to me that day is what I still carry at heart and in my practice today. Okay, it really just, some of it sometimes is how should I put it? We approach game dev on a bare surface level, right? But this man was able to, like, really teach me in depth on how to approach learning anything, be it any engine, be it any programming language, right? So you just open that. I mean, and it's actually something very straightforward. It's not even all that fancy, right? But at that time, I was overwhelmed by the idea of, like, oh, how will I know the whole of Unreal Engine? How will I know the whole of Unity? That kind of thing. But once after speaking with him, and what he told me really reduced my, what's the word? My fear, and it helped me start to pick up things more confidently. And this was even before I got into UEFN, right? So once I got into UEFN, all that stuff, blah blah. But I know I'm kind of rambling on and I'm saying a bunch of things, but don't worry, you guys stay with me. Okay. So even when I got laid off from this other company that I was telling you guys about, I already built a certain solid foundation, certain solid connection with people through LinkedIn, right? And various other platforms. Could be Discord, could be what's this other platform? Reddit. Okay. So once I messaged them that, oh, I got laid off from this particular company I was at, most of them were very, very eager to recommend me. In fact, I went directly to message CEOs, COOs of certain companies, and I was like, oh, I got laid off from this particular company, blah, 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 blah. I'm open for opportunities for this role, blah, 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 that kind of stuff, right? And these people actually read it. And luckily enough for me, that particular company had a name in the ecosystem. Okay. So when I said I was laid off from this particular company, it already gives a rep that, oh, if I was able to even get in the first place, that means I'm good enough. All right. So these people put me on interviews, and I mean, in less than a week after being laid off, I was able to get another role somewhere else. Actually, 2 roles. Okay. And from there, I just kept on growing. I just kept on working in the ecosystem, getting to meet cool people, getting to meet creators, working with very, very amazing talents. I'm still in the industry now. And funny enough, the same company that let me go at that time reached out to me early on this year for me to come back. And now I'm with them again. Okay. So, I mean, you never know how these things work. You never know how this industry goes, but your connection is literally your lifeline if you're trying to make a career here. Okay. So that's something I just thought to chip into you guys. Please take your connections really seriously. And I think I've said this before and I will say it again, right? Open up yourselves to learning multiple engines. Do not be doing Unity versus Unreal Engine on the group. Go and learn everything. It will help you, okay? It will help you a ton. Do not just pick up. I think most of the time what I would suggest to you guys is pick up C++, learn all there is about it, the programming language, the fundamentals, all of the necessary syntaxes and what that's fine. Learn the fundamentals of a programming language through C++, and every other thing will become a piece of cake along the way. So C#, you will dust it. JavaScript, you will dust it. Verse, you will dust it. OAU, you will dust it. Right? It's very, I mean, even now I've picked up Python already for AI programming, so I can see how I can, create workflows in my system, in my day-to-day systems and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I've said a lot. I'm not sure if I was able to convey a lot of the messages I needed to convey as well as I could, but yeah, bear with me. This is my first, should I say, it has been a long time since I did one of these, so yeah. I believe that is all for me. So if anybody has any question, please feel free to send my way. I will leave to me to do everything now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chisom. Before we round up, do you have time to just answer if anybody has a question, just
yes,
questions?
I would like to answer questions.
All right. Mr. Dio, did I get that right? Please go ahead. Your first question. Dio, did I get that right? You can go ahead and ask your question.
Dio.
Okay.
Yeah,
Dio,
I want to ask. Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Chisom, I want to ask you a question. What was your first programming language you started using? Like the first programming language you started using?
It was Python. Yeah. Like I said, it was OAU that taught us CSC 201, and in CSC 201 it was Python that they taught us how to program. And the first thing I did with Python was to learn how to build a snake Zen again. And from there, the rest is history. I just learned about game engines and then picked up everything I said earlier. So my first language was Python.
Yeah.
Yes. You can use Python to make games, by the way. Like they have a game library for that, all of that stuff. But yes.
Yeah. Like TensorFlow now. TensorFlow.
Yes. All of that.
Yeah. But I want to ask you another question. Is it based on your connection or based on your skills? Which one is most favorable to you?
Wait, sorry, come again with that question.
Is it based on your skills or based on your connection? Like Nigeria based. Which one is more you have more chances?
Okay, so it's based on your connection actually. If you say you want more chances, then it's based on your connection. You cannot deny that. But what will actually keep you at the job is your skills. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So try to build your connection. It's very, very important. Don't run away from it. Like I said, reach out to random people on LinkedIn that you feel like, oh, I would love to have a conversation with this person. Tell them about yourself. Introduce yourself. Say you're trying to get into the game dev industry. Present the realities at hand. Like, oh, this is this is that, and they will give you a ton of advice. Like, oh, this. And the thing is that in between, you're building a personal connection with these guys. Okay, so let me just chip in. Yeah. This is not something that I usually see around, but since you guys are on the call with me, all right, I have a personal connection to Michael Abrash. Now, I'm not sure you guys know who Michael Abrash is, but the reason we have Oculus Quest today is because of Michael Abrash. He's like the lead researcher for virtual reality at Meta or Oculus in general. Okay, so and it was a simple message I sent to him on LinkedIn. I read his game dev programming book, the Black Book. He released it back in 1999. Okay, so after I read it, I was like, oh, I like this book. This really opened my eyes to a bunch of programming patterns that I never thought of before. Okay, so I reached out to him on LinkedIn. I just sent him a message like, oh, hey, hello, Mr. Michael. I read your book. I love it. I just wanted to like, connect with you. That was all. And he accepted my connection. He responded to my message. And, from time to time, we send messages. This is a man in his like 60s or 70s, right? He's a veteran in the industry. Like, I just send messages to him from time to time, like, oh, how are you doing, sir? This one, that one. If I want to hop on a call with him, he's always willing to like, open himself up. That's if he's not busy anyways. So yeah, that's all I have to say on that note to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So Joseph,
Yes.
please go ahead with your question.
Hello, Mr. Chisom. I'm not much of a developer actually, but I was hoping if there were game testing roles, like I'm more of a game tester and more big time game enthusiast, and I can actually give reviews about games, and I talk mostly about games, and I make content around games and comics and all and all. But I
Mhm.
actually want to see. I actually want to become a game tester full time.
Okay.
Is that possible as a Nigerian, or can you give me pointers?
Okay. So that's actually very possible as a Nigerian, just so you know. I worked with a bunch of Indians sometime last year, and these guys made a business of game testing. And they were testing games. At first, they started off with like UEFN games, Fortnite games. They were testing that. Oh, okay. Yeah, they were testing Fortnite games that I worked on and some studios worked on to make sure that everything was working fine before we publish it to the platform, right? And they eventually expanded their horizons to like Roblox, normal native games, okay? So, I mean, these are guys from I'm from India, sorry, right? And I'm not trying to put them low or demean them because actually Indians are very, very smart people, okay? But I'm just trying to let you know that all the way from there, even because when you look at India, you look at Nigeria, some people tend to clash us together in a sense, especially in the game dev industry. Okay, especially in the game dev industry. So if someone like that was able to like start off that way, build a business out of it, like he has a bunch of people under him that he's working with. He sends quotations to these companies, they pay him, he pays the people that play test with him. This is something that you could also do, Joseph, right? Yes, this is something that you can also do. So don't look down on it and learn it natively, learn it properly. Don't just say, oh, I can play games and give reviews. There are actually steps and procedures. There are ways to actually draft your results when you play a game, right? So, and I think there are actually courses on Udemy. There's a course I stumbled upon on Udemy, how to be a game tester. So you could get that particular course, see how they officiate it, and the rest is history. That's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Your insight was helpful, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next question. Someone asked, so the question goes thus: as of the industry of today, what do you have to do to have a solid? What do you have to do to have a solid portfolio?
Okay. Yes. The thing is, portfolio changes with time. Do you understand? Right now, a junior developer is more or less a mid-level developer back in like, let's say 2018 or 2017. Do you understand? Especially if, I mean, all across board, really. So when you're asking me for a portfolio, a solid portfolio, yeah, for game dev specifically, it depends on what you're trying to apply for or where you're trying to go, to be fair. And what I usually do is that I tend to have a different portfolio for when I'm applying for certain roles. Okay. I first of all do a background research on the company I'm trying to. I know of it, like, how do I say this? Because it's weird for me to say that, oh, I'm trying to research on the company when I just apply for the job and whatnot, right? But the thing is that you could do a collective pool. You can look into what these companies are always looking for, right? Most companies always have the same things in their job description. Oh, we want a developer who is good with C++, has 3 years of experience and blah, 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 2 years or 1 year of experience, whichever the case might be, and knows a certain set of things, right? Understands like UI and front-end programming, understands how to make multiplayer systems, understands how to, make complex gameplay mechanics and all of that kind of stuff, yeah? And maybe animation program, because all of these things I'm listing to you here, they are mostly separate roles in big companies. You have someone who is dedicated to UI, you have someone who is dedicated to gameplay programming, you have someone who is dedicated to multiplayer networking, and all of that kind of stuff, right? But as for us, right? We are not dead. There are people who spend their time and do that. For us, from this part of this world, if you're trying to get opportunities out there, we have to do everything. We have to show that we can actually program UI. We have to show that we understand multiplayer and networking. We have to show that we have, good understanding on gameplay mechanics and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things. There's so many things that one has to, be able to pick up and understand. But like I said, and I will keep on saying, learn everything that a game consists of, be it sound, be it animation, be it gameplay programming, be it multiplayer and networking, be it UI. I think that's mostly it anyways. It's not even a lot. Do you get? Just have something in your portfolio that shows that you can do everything. Like, even if it's not to the most expert level, just show that you have a basic understanding on those things and you'll be fine. Sorry, I spoke a lot, but yeah, that's it. If that answers the question, or if you have something specific that you're trying to, aim for, can let me know. That's all. Go from mute. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, everyone. Sergio, please, before we go on with your question, I need to ask this question on the message. Someone asked that what advice can you give to a newbie who's just getting started?
Oh, a newbie who just got started. Yeah, I think I already mentioned it earlier on. Try to take the hard things first. Pick up C++ on Unreal Engine if you can. Okay, take the hard things first, and everything else will just fall in line. The reason why I keep on, like I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The reason why I keep on recommending C++ is like it is more or less the lowest level of languages across the board when it comes to gameplay programming. The moment you can understand it, there's no other language that you cannot understand. Like I've said, I've worked with C++, I've worked with C#, I've worked with JavaScript, I've worked with Verse, I've worked with UAU, right? I've also worked with Python. Okay, so, and most of these things I was able to understand down the line better because of C++. Okay, so that is what you want to start with. Just learn a programming language. C# is even fine too. Okay, pick up a game engine, or should I say, pick up a game engine, get the correlating gameplay programming language, and then move on with it. Okay, so that's all.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sergio, do you still want to go ahead and ask the question before I ask mine?
Yeah, thank you. So I started with JavaScript. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I started with JavaScript, and now I'm going to Python. Is it like advisable for someone to go to like all these hardcore languages like C++, C#, even though you have knowledge of Python and JavaScript?
Oh, of course. Yeah, you can definitely pick it because, let me be frank, C++ is the language of game development, right? You cannot escape it. C++, C#. You cannot escape it if you're trying to work for the big leagues, okay? That's their prerequisite, so you have to know it, okay? So even if you say you're trying to jump to Python, leave Python for now. I would advise you pick up C++ or C#, and then you move on with your life.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thanks, sir. But, sir, do companies really ask for years of experience based on what you want to, like, the role you are looking for?
Yes, they do. They do. But that doesn't stop you from applying for roles that everyone are ahead of you, by the way. Try and apply for roles like that. I'll share a short story. With one of the companies that I got to work with here, I didn't have the necessary years of experience that they wanted. Do you understand? So I was speaking directly with the CEO, or I've forgotten his position. I was speaking with someone that was higher up in the company, yeah. And he was telling me that, oh, sorry, that I do not have, and all of this thing. And you can see that these people are actually responding to me because there are actually formats to approaching these people. But let me reiterate back to what I was saying. He said I did not have the necessary years of experience to apply for that role, or necessary experience generally, right? And I told him, I challenged him actually. I told him directly that, oh, okay, then give me a challenge or give me a test and see that, oh, I'm actually caught up for this thing. Do you understand? And he was like, oh, okay. Then he introduced me to his CTO, right? The CTO sent me a programming challenge. I went through the programming challenge in a very short time. I sent it back. Do you understand? But the funny thing was that he was still adamant, like he was still resisting the idea of bringing me on board. Do you get? and I already had him in my connection. Okay. Since he was still resisting that idea, I decided to now go all out. Okay, I still had a bit of time frame. I decided to go all out, and I decided to create something that, and in fact, when I created it and I posted it on LinkedIn, I tagged him specifically for him to see it and see that, oh, this was what I was able to achieve with this particular software and language that you guys are looking to hire for. And when he saw it, that sped up the process. Do you understand? Sometimes you just have to challenge these people. So, I mean, if you are in the plat or the avenue, like if you have the avenue to say that, oh, give me a test, or at least give me a challenge, let me try it out. Do you get? If you have the avenue to do so, then do so.
Yeah.
It's a rare occurrence, but when it happens, just seize it and take control, put out your best, and you'll be fine. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah,
All
no
right,
offense. Was it a foreign company or a Nigerian company?
It was not a Nigerian company, it was a foreign company. It was a foreign company.
And
And
because
just so
Nigerian
you know,
companies do not have yeah.
they don't have what?
I've not seen any Nigerian game company at all. That's why.
Oh, there is. They're just under the hood sometimes. You get. But anyways, because I still have one with a Nigerian company. I'm working with a Nigerian company right now, but obviously my contract allows me to work with other people too. So yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Really, update yourself on law and contract too, please. Don't go and sign your soul away, right? But that's all. Yeah, definitely, please. Carry on.
Thanks, sir.
all right, no problem. We definitely won't sign our soul away. We'll learn about that. Okay, I also have a question of mine, so please judge me. Please don't judge me. I'm going to be selfish here. My
Yeah.
question is, what are some of the challenges that you faced while beginning or while picking up UGC gaming, like the UGC gaming tools that use Roblox and UFN, and how did you face those challenges? Because most of these tools are just like they're just coming up in the industry. So
Yeah.
what approach did you go, or what approach did you use to like face those to solve those challenges?
Okay, so when it comes to me learning Roblox and UEFN, one thing that stood out was the fact that there was no clear cut, like, how should I say this? These softwares actually had their documentation, yes, but for someone who doesn't have like understanding on like programming languages in general, gameplay programming patterns and all of that kind of stuff, it's going to be very hard for you to pick it up, okay, or to even understand it in general, right? So for someone, let's say someone, a random person is trying to pick up Roblox Studio and OAU, right? They will have to spend a bit more time understanding. In fact, I think there's more resources on Roblox than UEFN, right? UEFN, I had to learn it on my own. I had to like go through that documentation. I went through all of their documentation to understand how to write code in verse, and obviously there were videos at the time on YouTube, but they were not to the caliber at which I was looking for. Okay. So if you say you're trying to pick up UGC gaming and Roblox, just be prepared that you're going to do a ton of research. Right? It's a ton. You have to do a ton of research. Now, when we come down to a software level, Roblox is lighter than UEFN. UEFN requires that you install Fortnite and also install the editor itself, which is already 100 gig gone, just like that. All right. Roblox is cheaper. Roblox is not even up to, I don't think it's up to, let's say, give or take 2 gig. It's not a lot of, the studio is not heavy, right? And they have a ton of resources online that you can reference and learn from and, grow from. Okay. So when you now come, facing your question and you asking me that, oh, what was the challenges I faced? I was at a point in my life or at the point in my career that I knew these things. I understood game development to a very large extent. So picking up all of these things were very easy for me. Do you understand? But for someone who is picking it up, starting out and picking it up, right, just prepare yourself for a ton of research and a ton of frustration, like normal native game development actually gives. It's not different. There's no difference. I'm not even going to lie. Right? You see red line, you see yellow line, you scratch your head, you pull out your hair. Do you get? But at the end of the day, you come out victorious. That's all.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go to Alex. Mr. Alex, your question.
All right. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. So I wrote some questions down and hopefully you get to learn some things from it. There are 5 actually. So the first one is, what's your advice for someone that wants to learn game dev and is having like device issues, like your PC is not up to the task and all of those kind of things. So what
Yep.
do you think? How do you think they should approach this situation?
All right. So I think the first bit of advice I would give is go on your knees and beg God for help because you will need him in the journey of being a gameplay programmer. I'm not even going to lie. You're going to need him. When I started out, I didn't have a proper PC. I had one HP Elite book, a very, very old model, right? That had like 4 gig RAM and whatnot, right? But I was running Blender on it. I did my best. I was able to model a human being on it that time, right? But honestly, I can recall, I can recall actually crying my heart, not crying my heart, but I was in a state of like prayer, and I was like, God, please, I actually want to do this thing. I need a laptop. I need a laptop. Then obviously I got, I don't know how it happened at that time, but I was able to approach my parents, and I told them that, oh, I needed a laptop. Oh, they weren't exactly, buoyant to get me a laptop. They had other pressing needs at that time. They get, but as God may have it, something happened. The money came. I was able to get myself a laptop, and the rest is history. Like I told my parents that this laptop that they got me, this is the last laptop they will get me, and I ran with it. I ran violently with it. Now, back to your question, Alex. Everybody will not have the same experience as I did. Do you get? And people in this day and age will have to actually go the extra length. If you have to work to save up, if you have to do anything else to save up to get a PC, a proper PC now, to push yourself in game dev, fine, off well and do, oh well and fine, do you get? And like I explained early on, game development was not my first thing. I started off as a digital artist, as a comic book artist. That was what I used to make some money on the side. So even the money my parents gave to me, I had to add some of the money I was able to make to it, a proper laptop at that time. Do you get? So honestly, it's not just even for game dev, it's just in general. There's certain things that your parents cannot meet, right? And you just have to be up and doing with whatever resources that you can find. Okay. So I mean, obviously you cannot do game dev without a laptop. Well, can you? Well, let me not jinx it, but you definitely need a computer. You cannot run away from it. And everything that you can do in your power, even if you have to, beg an uncle or, beg your elder sister, brother, whatever the case might be, sure, just try your best to first of all secure a laptop and then actually sit through the staking process of actually picking this whole thing up. That's all I have to say. I can recall when I was doing my COS 2, right? This is just me sharing an experience. I was doing my IT that takes us out of campus for like a whole semester, right? I was carrying my laptop to sites to watch courses on how to make games. Do you get? So I mean, if you're not desperate enough to really want to get this thing going, I don't know what I can tell you. Yeah, but that's all, Alex. Yeah, carry on.
All right. So this is the second question. I'm going to five, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned it. So on layoffs, do you have any advice for reducing your chances of getting laid off? Because imagine you struggle to get a big role and all of that. Like, what are like the things that you feel is like do's and don'ts, so you can like limit the chances of getting laid off?
Okay, so sadly there is nothing that limits your chances of getting laid off. Sadly, there's not. Right? You can just wake up on a random day and you see that you see a mail and that you've been laid off and all of that kind of. There's nothing you can really do. Okay, unless maybe you're part of the company at the early stages where you're now a crucial member that really pushed things for the company and all of that stuff. And you're a very senior member that they cannot let go of. All right, but let's also say that aside, right? It's very hard to say, but that doesn't mean that you sit back and just let things happen. Do you get? Even if you're faced with, or even if you're in a scenario like the game dev industry where layoffs happen rampantly, whenever you get in a room, whenever you get in a studio, whenever you get in a company, just put out your best and just hope for the best. Really, just give it all, give it your all. Give it your all. Now, within the confines of working hours, so work your 9 to 5 and but in between, do your best. You understand? Don't go and be slaving away from one company because at the end of the day, they will let you go. But if you feel like you just want to put that extra effort, no problem, right? Yeah, I mean that's all I have. There's not really straight answer to that question, honestly. Just do your best, man. Just do your best and hope for the best. That's all.
All right. Thank you. The third one is pursuing side hustles just to
Mm-hmm.
put food on the table and get by the day while you learn
Game dev.
game dev or your passion and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I personally I struggle to find the balance.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I just feel like let one guy just finish me. Let me finish learning this thing. And I know that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that has happened to you and are you able to like navigate straight.
Uh, well, I was lucky to pick up. Sorry. Oh, I was lucky to pick up game dev when I did. Right. I did not have the weight of the world on my shoulders. I was still a student. I was still a child to my parents. So obviously, when I don't have money, I can lean on them or any other support that I could get. Right. But I was just lucky to be able to still have what I was doing at the time, which was drawing comics. I was able to, be comfortable, buy cool things. I mean, I got one of my should I say a really nice phone for myself at that time, off my earnings, off those things. Do you get? But let me just focus on your question. In a scenario where, okay, you actually have to survive, right? And you're actually picking up game dev, please do what you have to survive. There are a ton of people out there who are like, I saw a post on LinkedIn where his primary job to put food on the table was actually mowing a lawn or actually cleaning a court, like a basketball court. He was cleaning it. Then when he gets back home after his work, he then, tries to make a game or something like that. I saw it on LinkedIn some time ago. Do you get? Anything you can to do to put food on the table, okay? But obviously, you want to try and get the best thing to do to put food on the table, right? Don't just, just all these things just depend on life situations at hand. But yeah, definitely do what you can to put food on the table and pursue your passion as a game developer. That's all.
All right, thank you very much. I think what I was able to take away from that is that you started early while you were still a little bit dependent on your parents and all.
Yes,
So that
yes,
helped you. Okay.
yes.
The fourth one is how do you navigate working and learning? You know, there is when you are working, like you have to invest like a lot of hours with your employer and all of that. How do
Mm-hmm.
you make time to also like try new things, explore new things and all of that?
Okay, so for some, just a role or two, right? Um, it depends on how much time you're dedicating towards it, to be fair. Okay. So I mean, I will assume that you have a 9 to 5, right? What happens in the evening? That means you have like 6 to like 8 or 9 or 10 or even 12 in the midnight to do every other thing that you want to learn or pick up any other thing you want to learn. Do you understand? For me, that's how I do it. Once I finish because the companies I work for is 9 to 5, like Nigerian 9 to 5. I'm not doing any overnight work at the moment. You get? So once I get off this work, I eventually just bounce off to learning something, right? Like I said, recently I've picked up Python. It's Python I'm learning. I'm learning all about AI engineering, seeing how I can bring those like game dev and AI engineering together. Who knows, right? And that's how I handle it. So obviously you just need to plan yourself. I work from so and so time to so and so time. I can make 2 hours. I can make 3 hours to pick up this particular course. I move like it's pretty straightforward. So that's it, yeah. That's it.
All right. So basically you should like find a balance
Find a
or something
balance.
that will,
Yeah,
okay.
just
Yeah.
budget the time and you'll be fine.
All
And
right.
obviously there are some days
Last
where you are not exactly so busy with work. Maybe you finished work early. Then you pick up your courses and whatnot, or whatever else you're interested in. Yeah.
all right. Okay. So the last one is a bit tricky. So I have three things there. Freelancing, full time, making your own game.
Mm-hmm.
How would you rank them? Like if you had to choose one over another,
Mm-hmm.
what the order you would choose?
Full
Should I
time.
come again?
Don't worry.
Okay.
I already know my answer. For me, please, this is me. Anybody else can have their own stuff. But for me, full time, freelancing, making my own game. Now, it's obviously in the order of priority. I have to survive. Full-time job gives more stability because at the end of the month, I know that something is coming. Do you get? Freelancing is seasonal. I could get a job today and not have another. I mean, I could get work today or a gig and not have another gig tomorrow, right? But at the end of the day, food is still coming on my table. Then making my own game, the resources I'm making off full-time jobs or freelancing, I could decide to just also pour it into the project, maybe buying a little bit of assets here and there, that kind of stuff. So that's all I have to say on that note, sir.
All right. I was going to ask you for the reasons, but you already gave the reasons. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. That's all.
All right, all right. Thank you. Let's just take the remaining three questions, and that will be all for now. Ayomide Adelana or Lana, I'm not sure. Please go ahead with your
Yes,
question.
yes. Here's my question. Thank you. Let's say you've been working on the project for a couple of months. You had inspiration when you started. Then somehow, the project enters development hell. Like, how do you bring it out of that state? Like, it's really hard sometimes. So you end up with a ton of unfinished projects. Like, what is one to do in a situation like that?
How do I answer this question now? Well, it depends on how important the project is to you, and also like, what is the like, who does the project belong to? Does it belong to you? Does it belong to your workplace? Do you understand? Because if it's your workplace, you have to throw yourself inside that hell and bring it out, though. Do you get? But if it's your personal project, then it really just comes down to how it matters to you. Like,
Okay.
yeah, because you would, I mean, at some point, Seth, you will get so good at what you are doing. And when you visit that project, you'll be like, oh, I didn't do this right. I should have done this better. I should have done this like this. And you might just decide that, oh, you know what? I'm going to remake the whole thing. And the time that you even spent putting yourself in, like, getting that project to the point of development hell, you might not even spend as much time to even get it to that point once you start again. Like that's it. I mean, who knows? You might also have had it in like a previous version of the software you're using and start it off on another version that even has better functionality for certain things. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, the last two questions from the message. Someone asked, as the founder and CEO of CodecNet, as the founder and CEO at CodecNet, with an experience in both Unity and Unreal Engine, how can I lead CodecNet team to be successful?
So well, I mean, I've not exactly been in management roles before. I just like being behind the computer and typing away. But yes, if you want to lead CodecNet to be successful, you obviously have to first of all give yourself proper exposure. Understand what is going on in the industry, understand what is happening in your own native ecosystem. What is happening in the Nigerian game dev space? Or is that what you're aiming for? Because you said, let me see, CodecNet. I assume CodecNet is an establishment here you've made here in Nigeria, and you're trying to make impact here and eventually go global. Yeah. So you have to be aware of what is going on in your ecosystem locally. See how you can push your studio, your company towards that, a certain sort of native goal. And eventually that native goal spreads out. Like take for instance now, Dimension 11, right? Legends of Orisha. Okay. They started natively, they're trying to tell native stories and eventually take that native story to the world. Right. So that's how it goes. Marvelous. You get. But I would say again, expose yourself. And when I say expose yourself, creating connections is also there. Network with people. I cannot stress this enough. I really can't. Okay, that's all.
All right, thank you so much. So, last question for today. He's asking that as a Unity junior game developer, what kind of game should he be developing?
As a junior game developer, well, I mean, the almighty first game that most junior game developers make are endless runners. Endless runners have a bunch of things that are called to every game, right? Movement, touch input, right? Play animation, pickups, responsive UI, power-ups, what else? Yeah, they have a ton of the things that most games have. You get, and then you can further extend it because you obviously need to understand AI behaviors and state trees, all of those type of things. Get more complex, generative AI you get for environments and whatnot. And yeah, the thing is that once you really throw yourself into these things and you keep on developing and you keep on growing in the industry, there's no how you will not grow. That's if you're intense about it anyways. And obviously you always want to look for the opportunity to grow. If you're in a job, if you have a particular job where you've been doing the same things for a very long time, right? Obviously it gets boring and your growth is stunted, especially when they always put you, into it. Um, like when they're always demanding of your time, you're always putting extra time into the work, right? So I would just like if you have a stable finance, just leave it. Look for Don't leave it yet. Don't leave it yet, Pico. Uh, don't leave it yet. Just try and look for other opportunities that can actually aid your growth and expose you to a lot more. But that's besides the question. Do you understand? As a junior gameplay programmer, take on projects that actually push you to touch every possible should I say fundamentals of the game. Do you get, like I mentioned already? So yeah, that is all I can do.
All right. I can see two people raising their hands. Do you guys still have questions before I go ahead and ask mine? Alex and Ayomide. Okay. We take that as a no. So my last question for the day is Chisom. How do you go about? Okay, so you have mentioned Roblox and you have mentioned UFN.
Mhm.
After learning or after going through and learning how to use these particular tools and software, how do you go about navigating the job market? Do you go as a freelancer? Do you go as a full-time role? Because I have seen more freelance roles of on Roblox and UFN than seeing it as a full-time job. And what do you need to tailor, or what are the specific requirements you need to meet to be able to get jobs like that?
Okay, so for the likes of Roblox and UEFN, they have their trends, right? Both platforms actually have their trends. There was a time on UEFN or Fortnite where it was tycoon maps. I don't know if any of you have played tycoon games or whatnot, right? Where you run around trying to make money, trying to purchase stuff. Anyways, they always have a thematic that they follow. At some time, it was competitive maps, red versus blue, shooter games, that kind of stuff. Then they eventually moved on to tycoon maps. Then from tycoon maps, they moved on to simulators, right? And from simulators, they moved on to brain rots. Right now, brain rots is what is trending. I'm going to be using some language that most guys might not be, might not exactly know. But brain rot is what is trending on both platforms right now. So if you are trying to get into the job market, or if you're trying to even get a freelance opportunity, right, you would definitely want to have something that shows that you can even create what is currently trending on the platform. Do you understand? So that's how to go about it, really. And it's the same thing with normal native game development. You want to show that you can use the current tools that are available in the industry. Do you get? You want to know that you want to show that, oh, maybe I could use MetaHuman Creator. I can import that MetaHuman into a real engine. I can set it up, put animations on it, make it move around, make it perform certain, I mean, even in Unreal Engine, you want to show that, oh, I can use control rig, for instance, right? And so many other things here. That's all.
Okay, so there is no like actual requirements. It's on when you apply to such roles that you see some of the requirements and tailor it to that particular job offer, right?
No, 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 no. You're not tailoring anything to that particular job offer. No. What I said was that try to follow the trend of the platform. Do you get? Let's say at this particular point, in fact, not just at this particular point in time, any time to come. Do you get? There was a time when my portfolio consisted of competitive games on Fortnite. Do you get? There was a time when it now started to consist of simulator games, tycoon maps. Do you get? And now it has something more Roblox, more brain rot styled in it. Do you understand? So, and all of these things, it obviously shows that, oh, I've been around since the beginning. I have portfolios on all of these genre of games on these platforms, up until the point that it is current on what is existing on the platform. Do you get? So just jump on Roblox, see what people are playing, see what people are engaging with. Jump on Fortnite, see what people are playing, see what people are engaging with. Aside from Battle Royale, there are other creative maps that players tend to love. Jump into those experiences, see what is happening in there, like the kind of systems that they've created. Okay, that, oh, this has an invert system, oh, this has this particular system, oh, this, and try to recreate it on your own. Do you understand?
Yes, now I fully understand. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take the last two questions, Mr. Dio and Mr. Adigari. So, Mr. Dio, please go first.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah. Um, I can ask you a question. Do you need, like, for Web3 games, are they really that trendy? Do you think Web3, that gaming, is it that trendy?
No, it's not, sadly.
Not. Wow.
Yeah, it's not trending. A lot of Web3 games have shut down.
Wow.
Yeah. Unless someone else has a metric that begs to differ, but from what I've seen, that's the case.
Wow. So it's not really that good. It's not really that good like that.
It's not that it's not that good per se. It's just that it's how do I explain it? Most Web3 games are usually pay to win or something like that. Like they have so much subscription models and payment models, and players don't exactly they don't exactly have that interest. They just want to play again and have fun, right? It's not stressing about, oh, I sell this, I buy this, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's all.
But do you have languages to do, like languages you need to understand before you can like do all these Web3 games? Are you still that C++ and C#?
I lost you for a minute.
Like language you need to for Web3 games, is it still that normal game development language like C++ and C#?
Well, most Web3 games come with their specifications, but obviously, yes, you can use C++, C# because there are other like should I call them plugins that you can bring into Unity Engine or Unreal Engine to handle those things, interface with them. Yeah. So it's still the same, same programming language. You cannot run away from them.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. Adigari, please go ahead with your question.
Good afternoon.
Yeah,
Good afternoon. I just want to ask that if I want to start game developing because of I'm going through app development, so I want to add game development to my portfolio. So if I want to start with game development, the languages and the engines that I will use, I don't really because I know that I might not get this chance again to see somebody who really knows this stuff. So I want to ask that the languages and the engines that I will need to like acquire and learn before I will start learning it or how.
Okay, so it's pretty straightforward, yeah. Just go on YouTube and search, how can I become a gameplay or a game developer in 2026? And you see a ton of videos that pop up that give you advice on what to do. You understand? Then you can use that to make your decision. For most people who don't exactly have a high-end gaming PC, right, or just a regular laptop, I would suggest Unity and C#. But for someone who has the opportunity to pick up Unreal Engine and C++, no problem. But even if you want to pick up Unity and C# on a high-end gaming PC, no problem. But the thing is that you have to also do your research. What are the type of games I want to make? What are the type of, like, if I want to make this a career, what kind of companies do I want to work for? Do you get? Most AA or AAA games studios use C++. If you want to work in the mobile game sector, right, you obviously have to pick up C#, right, because it's mostly Unity they use in those sectors. Okay. So yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for everyone for your questions and for everything. Last thing before we end the meeting tonight, this afternoon, Mr. Chisom, someone is asking you to drop your socials, how they can connect with you, where did they connect with you, and how to go about that. So please, kindly share your details, your contact details with everyone on this call right now. Thank you.
So for every platform you want to find me on, you can just search in this name. I've put it in the chat, and you'll be able to connect with me on LinkedIn or on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok, whichever the case might be. That is my username. That's all.
All right. So there you have it. That is the wrap of the whole talk on the actuality of and future of gaming. I want to thank everyone that attended this webinar session, this online session. I want to thank our speaker, Mr. Chisom, our very OG community member and a very good mentor to a lot of us. So, without much further ado, I believe everyone has asked their question. They have jotted many things down. And they have gotten all their questions answered. Okay, please name again. You said Mavion, so Mavreon. So there you have it. So thank you so much for everyone for attending. I will look forward to having you on another session on another call very soon. And yeah, please have a blessed day. And thank you, dear COAU, also our moderator.